All right. And then let me just make sure I've got my windows set up. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I thought we'd have a bunch of folks popping right in here at the top of the hour. Okay, so welcome, first of all. Hi, again, my name's Avra. If you can access the Google Meet chat, so if you can open up the chat, you should see, well, actually, I didn't pin it in time. Let me make a new one. I'm gonna, there's a link. There we go. Now you guys should be able to see it. There is a message in the chat, a post in the chat that has a link to a document that I'm going to share with all of you today. So welcome, welcome. My name's Avra. I think you guys know that from having been in the first session. People are joining, which is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, guys, and we're going to kick this off, get started. All right. There we go. So what we're doing right now, friends, is looking for you guys to be able to access this document, okay? So what do we have in the Meet overall? Looks like we've probably got about 10 people, and it looks like we've got almost everybody into the document, which is awesome. So you guys listen, I don't present with slides, okay? I'm gonna do everything kind of live in Kami, but I do have a set of resource slides for you, and I have a ton of resources for you that are videos, okay? So if you access this purple page, all down the left-hand side are links to different concepts, different things that I'll show you. And I won't get to all of them, but each of these is like a 5-minute video or a 10-minute video at the most. So as we're together today, don't feel like you have to remember everything. It's absolutely, cool if you just kind of sit back and relax and take things in, and then you can explore on your own, during the sandbox and then after our time together. I would love for this to be as useful for you as possible. So just so you know, I have been a teacher, for 30 years this year, since 1996. And I've been a facilitator of professional learning for about 11 of those years. And so I've sat through some really great professional learning and some not so great. And I want this to be good for you. So feel free to interrupt me even during this first 45 minutes. If I'm going too fast or if I showed something but you didn't catch it or something, you guys can unmute and talk to me. You can type in the chat. I've got the chat open, okay? Or you can hold your questions to the sandbox. That's fine too. Whatever makes you comfortable, that's what I'm hoping for, okay? So what I just want you to know is this document has links to videos that you can look at during the sandbox. You can try things. I've also got a link to a set of slides that's really all about, universal design and all of that as well, okay? And then there are additional little notebooks down here that are just basically multi-page documents, but they have more information, and we will, you can explore all of that during the sandbox. And then my name, a human resource, is at the bottom. I'm not your official Kami person, but my team works together. Julian is actually your official Kami person, but you can email any of us and we'll help you if you need it, okay? So that was just a little bit of housekeeping. What I want to do right now, guys, is talk about Kami through the lens of universal design, right? So we're going to take an assignment and we're going to look at ways that we can use the tools in Kami for teachers to be able to represent content and share information with students in a variety of ways, okay? And then we're going to look for ways, yes, there is, Jennifer, thank you, on this page. So Jennifer just asked in the chat, is there a link to the sign-in? So on this, oops, that wasn't good. On this purple page, you will see right by our little Kami dog who's all dressed up for the winter session here. There's the tiny URL right here. Okay, let me click on it. I think I'm not sure if I can access it because it's a Google form, but you all can. So let me just do a quick little copy and paste here, and I'll put it in the chat as well. All righty, we'll do a little copy and paste, and that way you can sign in. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, I did it twice. So you can click on either one of those, same thing, and you'll be able to sign in. Okay, thank you. I appreciate, Jennifer, your reminder. So guys, what we're gonna do is take a look at how to create an assignment for kids in Kami, okay? And we're gonna look at the possibilities that you can incorporate in order to make it more accessible for students. So as you know, universal design is all about looking for ways to be able to reach all of your learners. So what I would love to know, and you guys feel free to use like the emojis or use the chat, or if you want to come off of mute and talk, you can. But if I were to say to you, do you prefer to get information by listening and watching like a video or listening to audio, or do you prefer to read? What are your thoughts? Like, give me a thumbs up if you're a reader and that's how you take in information best. Like you like to learn by reading. I'd love to know if there are folks out there who are people that really like to read in order to take in information. All right, so thank you, Jose. I appreciate it. Visual and auditory. Honestly, a mixture of both. Thanks, Joseph. Awesome. Jennifer says, watch a video. It's so interesting, right? So do any of you ever, if you get an email from someone and you're not like, it's a lot of information, or you're reading instructions on how to put a bookshelf together or something like that, do you find yourself reading out loud to yourself in order to better understand something? Jennifer, thank you, says yes. Justin says, I prefer reading. Daniel says visual. So there's all different ways, right, that we take in information. I play it with Google Translate. What a great idea. I love it. I find myself reading out loud to myself. I found that in my master's degree, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing. And then I just realized, like, the connection, that dual coding, right? Being able to hear it at the same time as seeing it, that was what drove it home for me in terms of comprehension, right? So here's the thing, guys. I didn't figure that out until I was like 35, getting a master's degree, okay? If I had figured that out when I was 15 as a sophomore in high school, it would have been so much better. So it does take more time sometimes when you're doing it in the way that doesn't work best for you. So I think one of the things with kids is trying to help them figure out how they learn best. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just open up like a generic assignment, okay? And I'm going to show you some possibilities in Kami. So just so you know, if you are brand new to Kami, you can take any file that you have and bring it into Kami. Okay, if you want help with like getting started stuff, definitely let me know like during the sandbox. But what I'm going to do is just kind of open up a reading. Okay, it's got like a See, Think, Wonder activity kind of built into it. Okay, and I just want you to kind of see what's possible in here, okay? And actually, I was teaching with this, and I need to delete all my annotations. Guys, have you ever used Kami and marked up a page and then gone to use it again with like second period or third period, and all of a sudden all your annotations were still there and you were like, oh shoot, I screwed up this document? Well, if that ever happens to you, go up to the file menu, which is this little document in the top right corner, okay? And go down to this red one that says delete all annotations, and you'll get a fresh copy. Basically, it gets rid of everything that's on your page, okay? So let's talk about what's possible in Kami. Let's say that we're giving this to kids as, you know, an activity, assignment for them to do. To begin with, obviously, you've got the option for a text box. You can augment any worksheet, any activity that you already have by adding additional instructions, right? Or adding tips and tricks and things like that via text, via writing something. That's probably the least exciting thing, and maybe the least accessible thing that you can do, because honestly, our comment tool is multimedia, okay? And what that means is that, yes, we have a text comment. So you could paste a link to another website in there. You could type something in a text box, okay, or in a text comment. Guys, when you make a comment in Kami, you just click, okay, and it makes this little dot. And friends, this little dot can live wherever you want it to live. So if you are a science teacher, like this is more of a social studies thing, but if you were a science teacher and you wanted to annotate a science diagram with a bunch of comments, you could put information here, and you could put information here, okay? So you can put these little dots on your page anywhere you want, and the words are here, but then for our students that want to have it read aloud to them, they can click right here, okay? So just like Jen this morning, and I'm not signed in, or I'm not sharing my screen in the right way for you guys to be able to hear it, but trust me, read aloud is beautiful, okay? And we've got natural human voices in there right now, which is awesome. So they can do that. They can also have this translated into over 100 different languages, okay? So if you've got students that are English learners, or maybe you're even you're a world languages teacher yourself and you're looking at a different target language, you can do that as well. Okay. So I'm going to just delete these right now, guys, because what there's also the possibility for is audio. So the second type of comment down is a voice comment. So when we think about UDL, we think about not only how we present information to students, but how they demonstrate their understanding, right? So do you have those kids in your class who are talkers and they're going to talk your ear off, right? And they're going to tell you stuff and they're very verbose, but you put a keyboard under their fingers or a pencil in their hands, and all of a sudden you're getting these short answers, right? My son is 15 and he will talk your ear off. But the minute he has to type something, he's only going to type the words he knows how to spell. Okay. And he still struggles with some dyslexia and things like that. So it's really better if we can let him talk in terms of trying to figure out what he understands, right? Like if he has to write an essay, he has to write an essay. But if you want to just know how much, what he sees in this John Gast painting or what he's thinking about or what he wonders, you could let him click and just talk, right? And this is an audio recording. It can be up to 5 minutes long. So you can let students use this as a way for them to demonstrate understanding, and or you as a teacher could record your voice and give instructions. So you could say to kids, okay, hey, listen, so we've been talking about this painting, American Progress by John Gast, right? We talked about it yesterday in class. Now, what I'd like you to do is really take a look at it and, start to think to yourself, what do you see? What are you noticing? And what does this make you think about? And what does it make you wonder? And then you could say things like, I'm looking for, a text box in each of the columns, and I'm looking for appropriate spelling and capitalization. Or you could give them all of your different learning objectives and all of that. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to put it into Google Classroom. Okay. So we're getting it all set up, and then we're going to make a copy for each student and assign it through Classroom. Okay. And when you do that, it's very seamless. Okay. The Google Classroom connection is top notch. I'm going to show you that next. And then you'll be able to see all of your student work in one place, and you can give them feedback. Okay. And guys, you can give them feedback using these same tools. So you could give some audio feedback if you wanted to, okay, or video feedback if you wanted to. So I'll show you that in just a second. So guys, this is a voice comment. It's just audio recording, okay? The next one down is video. So this could be me as a teacher standing at my board, right? Maybe I'm working a math problem here, okay? Or maybe I've got a math problem written out on paper, and I'm explaining it. Hey guys, don't forget, you got to get X by itself first, so on and so forth. It's up to you, right? You could be a social studies teacher, and there's a map over here. This can be 20 minutes long, and it's just a video of your physical environment. I see science teachers use this, especially for like the stuff they say that they repeat. Okay, you may not do this for every assignment, but if you do a lab safety spiel at the beginning of each semester, or you've got a new topic or new chapter coming up that is a tough one. Think about the difference for your kids of reading a chapter in the book or reading the handouts that you give versus hearing you explain it. Let me ask you guys a question. You were so great about answering my other one. If you're in a class, put on your student hat for a second. So either you're in a graduate class, or maybe put yourself back in, sophomore year of high school. How many times are you willing to raise your hand and seek clarification and ask that teacher for, help, to admit that you didn't really understand something that he or she just said and you wanting more, or you need it re-explained? I'll tell you right now, if I'm in a math class or a science class, the answer is 0. If I'm in a humanities class, if I'm in a language class of some sort, I'm probably better. I might raise my hand once, 2 or 3 times at least. Okay, that's awesome, Jose, thank you. Anybody else have a number that they're willing to raise their hand and admit that they didn't understand something and that they would like it re-explained? I usually, when I ask this question, get lots of zeros, get lots of ones, maybe a 2. Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. 0 to 1, right? Thanks, Yvette. 1 time. So think about the gift that you're giving your students if you're willing to put a video or an audio comment in here, okay? It's a way for students to be able to have it re-explained to them as many times as they need in order to be successful without having to admit that they need it re-explained. Okay, so just think about that as a possibility. Now, the last comment here, guys, is called screen capture. This, my friends, is like Screencastify or Loom. Okay, and look what's happening. As I'm making these dots, all of these little comments are showing up in the margin. What you're doing is you're augmenting your assignment. You're augmenting your file. Okay, this is a PDF. It started out as a PDF, but it could have started out as a Google Doc. It could have been a slideshow. Like any of those can be brought into Kami. Okay, and again, if you need help getting started with Kami, that's what we can chat about that in the sandbox. Okay, so this is me recording my screen. Okay, so you might want to show students how to do something in Kami. So now I'm recording. I might say, hey guys, take a look. The text box tool right here. You can click on it and then click on the page. And then you can show them. If you put your mouse like on the edge, you get this black bar right here. This black bar will let you do something like voice typing. When I look at this painting, I see an angel. You might show them like, hey, the text box initially starts out like this. When you need it to fit somewhere, you can take these little purple circles and, so you could be teaching them how to do things, even showing them features of the program that they maybe didn't know exists. Just so you all know, there's also predictive text in here in case students are typing something and are trying to spell it correctly. So like if I turn on predictive text, then I will see, do you see this? Words popping up. So if you've got students that are struggling in some way, predictive text can be an excellent way for them to be able to type and be successful. Okay. But think about this. I'm recording all of this. And this is a video then that just gets placed over here. Okay. In the margin. So listen, some of you might be thinking to yourself, this seems like a lot of work. We've got YouTube. Like, why would we record our own videos and all of that? And there's merit to that, right? It's always great when it's your voice explaining something, but if you're really like, yeah, I'm not really a video creation person, that's okay. All you have to do is put a YouTube video in instead, like if you want to support your students with video. And guys, you can do that by just grabbing the URL, okay? So let's just get a video real quick about Manifest Destiny and all that. And guys, all you have to do is paste it right here in a text comment, and your video will just get embedded right here into a text comment, okay? You can also, if you want to put a video right on the page, you can go to Add Media down here, come here to YouTube, and throw that URL in there as well. When you do it this way, you do have a little bit of flexibility. It's not a strong video editing program or anything, but you could kind of trim it down. This is not going to make it impossible for students to see the beginning or the end, but it would help you kind of hone in on maybe just a section of the video that you want them to watch. Okay, so the point to this is that there's a lot of, and I am going to delete this off the page because it's, doesn't really work on this page, but there's a lot of possibilities here with the multimedia tools that allow students to take in information in a variety of ways, right? So, we've got lots of text, but then we've also got the ability to bring in video, have audio, things like that, okay? Another thing I want you just to know about is the read aloud. So this read aloud will allow students to, highlight a section of text, have it read to them. If this were a document that was written in another language, in this read aloud menu right here, friends, you can come here to the third icon from the bottom and you can change the voice. Okay, so if this were written in French, I could have Sophie or Tomas read it here in French, okay, or Spanish or whatever language you're looking for, okay? There's a play button here. There's a pause button, a stop button, all that kind of stuff. There's even a speed, okay? So you've got your students have the power to slow down the words being read to them or increase the speed if they want to, depending on how they want to take in that information. Okay, so read aloud is a fantastic functionality. Also, guys, in the understand menu, okay, there's a set of tools in here that can help students take in information. Dictionary is one. Okay, if they click on the dictionary, they'll see the definitions. There'll be a couple definitions, and there are play buttons here too to have all those, either the word itself and or the definitions read to them. Okay, we are building out multi-language dictionaries right now. We have UK English as well, and then we have Spanish or Spanish dictionary. Okay, and then there's also a picture dictionary for words that maybe have a picture associated with them. Okay, so that'll help some of your, your early readers, like if they're English learners, or struggling readers, if you've got kids that still struggle. Okay, then guys, so I'm still over here on the understand menu. There's a translate. Okay, and translate is going to let you draw a box around a section of text, and it will go ahead and translate it into whatever language you're looking for. Okay, so I can take this over and say, hey, let's put it into Mexico Spanish. Okay, and then with this box here, there's additional functionality. One is read aloud. So this can be read, and it'll be read with proper pronunciation. Okay, additionally, guys, there's this button here. So this can be a teacher tool or a student tool, right? And if you click this, it makes you an automatic text comment with the translation. So this box that pops up, what's kind of nice about this, there's a lot of programs that will take a document and translate the whole thing. Canva does it really, really well, okay? But if you're working with students and they don't need everything translated, they just need some things translated, right? A single word, a single sentence, maybe just one paragraph, or just the words that they're struggling with. That's here, but this is kind of like a temporary box, right? Because if I use this X right here, I close out of it. So that's where then these text comments can come in, because they could put this over here if they wanted, okay? The other thing to note is that there's a copy button in there as well. So if students or you as the teacher wanted to just quickly copy this, instead of having to highlight it and do a Control-C, you could just click on copy. And then if you wanted to, you could put a new box in here. Okay, and we'll give it a good background here so we can actually see it, but you could cover up what's there and switch things over if you needed to. Okay, so this is all something that exists inside of Understand. We've got dictionary, picture dictionary, translate. And then, friends, we have something called Explain. And these are AI tools, okay? But here's what they aren't. They're not like ChatGPT. So they're not going to give you the answers, but they're just going to kind of help you get started. So you could, kids could do this and say, like maybe they don't understand the instructions, or they don't understand what they're supposed to do here. Let me put this back to English. And you can see that in a conversational tone, it's kind of just giving them a jumping off point, right? So like, let's look at each part. What do you see? What does this make you think? After you've described what you see, this part encourages you to move beyond simple observation. Here, you connect with what you've seen with your existing knowledge, so on and so forth. So it's conversational, okay? It can be read to them. So think of Explain kind of like a thought partner. It's not going to give them answers, but it's going to give them something to think about and something to, a jumping off point, okay? I want to show you this from a math perspective as well, all right? My son started high school this year, and he had algebra. And friends, I haven't had algebra since the 90s because I'm old. So this really helped us, okay? Explain really helped because, we were doing things with like the distributed property and things like that, and I didn't remember how to do any of that. Again, I'm not a math person, right? So they can put their box around a math problem or a chemistry equation or things like that, and you're going to get an explanation, but you're not going to get answers. You're just going to get more explanation of what to do. And keep in mind that these explanations can be translated. So if you've got a student in your class that's not a native English speaker who needs more help, he or she can have it translated to, the appropriate language and then have it read to them. Okay. So there's a lot of flexibility here. And, UDL is all about flexibility and different students taking in information in different ways. Okay. There is also a summarize tool. Okay. And that'll summarize a section of text as well. And there's a relevel tool. So if you want to relevel a section of text, if you've got students that are, again, struggling readers, you could do that. So I'm just going to quickly show this to you because I want to show you how to put this in Google Classroom so you can see it. You guys, the relevel tool, no, that disappeared, sorry. The relevel tool has all these different levels in it from 0 to 12. This is the teacher view of relevel. When your students go to use relevel, they will use this button here instead, and it's called adjust. It will do the same thing, but look how it looks different. It's a slider, okay? So it's not going to say like level 6 or level 5. That way, like a 10th grader doesn't feel like he's reading at a 6th grade level, okay? So this just says 5 levels harder, 5 levels easier. And what it does is it changes the sentence structure as well as the vocabulary to kind of just, make it simpler or more sophisticated. Thanks for the emojis. That helps me to know that you saw something you liked. So, guys, what I want to do now is I want to show you how you can put this into Google Classroom, okay? Because then I want you to know that you can control what students have access to. So listen, we've been talking about, reading and writing and kids taking in information. But what we haven't talked about is distraction and overwhelm and neurodiversity, right? Or just neurotypical kids who get overwhelmed easily, right? Look at this page. It's a lot of stuff, okay? There's tools all the way here. Look at this, all this stuff. And within each of these tools, there are these sub menus, right? Markup tools. Friends, these are highlighters, okay? We can mark up the page, do all sorts of stuff. The comment tool, the text box, there's all this stuff. I want you to know that when you make an assignment in Kami, if you start with your resource, your activity, your worksheet, you do whatever you want to in here in terms of if you want to create any of this stuff, and then you assign it through Google Classroom, you get to pick which tools they have. Be honest. Was there anybody in here that saw one of these tools and thought, I don't really want them to have that? I was working with a group of teachers yesterday, and I had a Spanish teacher, and she was like, I don't really want them to have translate all the time. Maybe some of the time, but not all of the time. You can turn on and off tools in Kami. Okay, it's probably one of my favorite things because I used to teach technology, and when they found those transitions in PowerPoint, has anybody ever taught PowerPoint to a bunch of kids that are making everything explode and it was just annoying? Obviously I'm dating myself. It was back in the day before we were using Google Slides. But my point is that sometimes there are tools in a program you wish they didn't have. Friends, there's a Google image search in here. I can come down to add media right here, and I can go here, Google image search. So I could say to kids, hey, listen, find a political cartoon or find a map or whatever. And here's what they can do. They can come in and type in pizza, right? Have you ever done this? Have you ever had a group of students that you've asked them to put a Google image of some sort in, and all of a sudden you end up with, cat memes and a bunch of stuff that you're like, okay, this had nothing to do with what we were supposed to be talking about, right? Well, you can turn off the Google image search if you want to. Okay. So, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete this off here, and I'm going to show you how to make this an assignment. Okay. Friends, if you pulled something from your Google Drive, it's going to be still in your Google Drive. Okay. It'll just have all of these Kami augmentations, and we call them annotations. Okay. If you brought something in from your computer, if you uploaded it from your computer, you might want to put it in Google Drive. This is your file location and file name right here. Okay. So just to kind of make a note of where it's at. So mine's in this new curricular materials, but I could move it to a different folder. I could also rename it. Okay. I want you to know that there is a Kami library, okay, that has over 2,200 free resources for you. So I'm just going to show you the library quickly and then show you how to get something saved to Google Drive. So let's say that you are, you teach with Cornell Notes, okay, and you're wanting a template. you can grab this right here, okay? If you can either download it for free, make copies of it, do whatever you want with it. Everything's free, okay? Or you could push it straight into Kami. If you push it straight into Kami, you need to come up here to where it says saved, okay? Because it didn't come from your Google Drive, so it needs to be put in your Google Drive. So then you're going to upload to Google Drive, okay? And it'll auto save for you as well after you've told it to a couple times, but not a couple times after you've told it to. Like there's a box you can check, and it'll upload there for you. But it always goes to a place called Kami Uploads, okay? Just by default. And then if you want to go and move it to a different folder, if you're someone who's very organized in your Google Drive and you want it like in, Unit 3, Chapter 2, you can put it there, okay? So just be aware of that. And I know I've said this over and over again. How do we get it to Google Classroom? We're going to come up here to share. Once we know where it's at, we're going to click on it, go to share, and then look, create assignment is right here. It's super easy, okay? You can also start in Google Classroom, right? So you all know, well, it's mad at me because I'm trying to do it two different ways here, but you can also go to create and choose Kami assignment, okay? Make sure you choose Kami assignment though. If you do it, don't do regular assignment because there's magic. And I'm going to show you the magic next, okay? Guys, I've been talking and talking. I want you to feel free to ask questions if you've got them, okay? Obviously, we've got the whole 45 minutes starting at 11 for sandbox time, but, feel free to interrupt me at any time if you've got questions along the way, okay? I'm just going to call this Manifest Destiny, and then I'm going to head over to my Google Drive button right here and go to that Kami Uploads folder, okay? And grab whatever I'm using here, okay? Well, let's just use well, no, I don't want to use the Cornell notes. Hold on a second. I have to think about where this assignment was. It was in new curricular materials. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So we find our file, we bring it in, right? And you do all your normal Google Classroom stuff, right? Give it points, do whatever you want with this, put it in a topic, give it a due date. But this is the magic right here. Bottom right, do you see where I'm at? Feature control. You guys, this is going to reduce overwhelm and distraction with your kids and just make it so that they stay focused on what you want them to stay focused on. This is a list of every single tool in Kami. Okay, look at this understand menu. There's tons of stuff. So you can either come up here to the top and click and turn on all of the tools, or turn them all off and then think critically, what do I need them to do? We're doing a see, think, wonder. So I want to give them the select tool. Guys, select is the mouse. You always want to give them that. Okay. But then the dictionary is okay. Maybe I don't want to do translate. Maybe I don't want to do explain, or maybe I do. You can pick which tools they have, okay? Let's give them read aloud because that's fantastic in terms of UDL, right? Let's definitely give them markup tools, but maybe they don't need the strike through or the underline. Maybe they just need the box highlighter or the freehand highlighter. Let's definitely give them the ability to record their voice, right? And demonstrate their understanding in a variety of ways. Friends, you can also allow students to create video, okay? If you are wanting them to practice speaking and listening skills, maybe you're in a speech class, in a performance class of some sort, like drama or something, okay? Or any class where kids might give a presentation, you might allow them to record their video or to record their whole screen and practice their presentation, okay? Or create a presentation. Lots of possibilities here. I have music teachers who use video for students to have them practice their musical instruments, just to make sure that they're practicing, look at finger placement, things like that, okay? So just be aware that you control this learning environment. Maybe you want them to be able to add media. Maybe you want them to be able to take a picture of their physical environment. Are you a math teacher who wants them to put the answer on the page, but you also want them to show their work? And maybe they need to take a picture and take a picture of the work they've done on paper. They can do that as well, okay? Friends, there's additional features, okay? Wonderful UDL stuff. We have closed captions on audio and video, okay? We have the voice typing that I showed you. Kids can add pages if you want them to, or if you're like, you know what, I don't want them adding pages to this one, take it away. But look at copy and paste. All right, you've got to show me with emojis here. Have you ever had students copy an answer from somewhere else, go over to a web page and highlight a section of text and hit Control C and then paste it on there and call it their own? Have you ever wished, man, wish they would just write this in their own words? You know, I mean, especially with AI now, right? So you uncheck this box and they can copy. They can go chat GPT up and be like, hey, let me hit you up, Gemini, chat GPT, whoever. Give me the answers, but they won't be able to paste onto the assignment. Okay, it just won't work. So you get to choose. Okay, look over here on the left. These are settings for the whole class. But if you've got certain students that you know are going to be more successful with, you know, certain tools, you could do that. So let's say that we go down to Cameron, okay? And in Cameron's case, you know, he definitely is going to get super distracted if he has too much. So we're going to give him the select tool, and we're going to give him the text box tool and voice comment so that way he can record his voice. And that's it, okay? Definitely we want to leave spell check. That frustrates Cameron because he sees the little squiggly red line and he's like, what is that? Why do I have that there? And it throws him into a tailspin, right? Our neurodiverse kids, sometimes that kind of stuff can be frustrating for them, but we definitely want to give him voice typing, right? Closed captions might frustrate Cameron because he just wants to listen. You'll know your kids, right? And figure out what they need. And so you can have individual settings for certain students as well. If you do choose to have individual students settings, up at the top, there's a save button here, okay? You want to make sure to hit save, and that way Cameron's settings will save. And then you don't ever have to worry that Cameron's settings would override the whole class. It won't, okay? And changing class settings aren't going to mess with Cameron's either, all right? All right, so we're going to hit confirm, and now I'm going to hit assign. And what I'm going to do next, guys, is show you what it looks like for a student to see, okay? And I'm cognizant of the fact that we've got about 8 minutes left. What I want to do is show you quickly the student view. And then what I'll do is show you what it looks like for you as the teacher, okay? So I just have to see where I am here. So if this is okay. I'm going to flip-flop these. Give me 1 second. All righty. So I'm a kid. I'm a student in your class, okay? I come and I click on this assignment, and all I have to do is hit open with Cami, all right? This opens up. And only that which I put on the page in terms of tools on the left and scaffolds on the right, exist. So look, we've got all of this, okay? And then we've got all of this. So first thing I'm going to notice, all right, we're going to pretend that I'm a student in class. There's like a weird scribble on here. I wonder if she meant to have this weird scribble on here. Have you guys ever handed out an assignment to students and found that there was a mistake on it after you've handed it out and thought, oh man? And in Google Classroom, usually, thank you for the thumbs up. Usually that means you have to start over, right? You don't with Cami. Check this out, all right? So let's pretend that little Ms. Avra student she's a little precocious, she's a little annoying, and you know, she raises her hand. Excuse me, miss, did you mean to leave this scribble here? Like, it looks like you used the highlight tool. What's that for? So you go, oh, you're right, I did. I made a mistake. Teachers make mistakes. I'll fix it for you. No worries. You quickly open up your Google Classroom, or you've already got it open because you just made the assignment, right? Guys, you come over here to open with Cami. Okay. And what happens is you will see a page that has all your student work on it. All of your student individual copies will be right next to each other in something called Class View. It's taken a hot minute because this is a 7-page long assignment with like 20 kids, right? So look at this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you guys can see what this looks like. Sorry, my Wi-Fi has been a little slow here. Oh, it froze. Okay, it looks like the Google Meet is still okay. Okay, good. All right, give me a second for my computer to catch up here. But typically, I can scroll back and forth between these different things once my screen is no longer unresponsive. I will tell it to wait, and I'll be patient. And what I can do, guys, is in here, I can give individual feedback to students, okay? But in this case, I want to fix an error. So I'm going to look up in the top right corner. This is a lot of stuff, guys, okay? But you can play with it, and we can talk more in the second half of the session, right, in the sandbox. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hope that this starts showing up. And there's a way to be able to go over and edit your template. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to get it to do right now, but it's mad at me. Maybe I'll do a quick little exit the page and start again here from scratch. And when I use that little toggle switch up in the top right corner, I'll be able to go over and edit my assignment, my template, which means that I can make changes to every single student's assignment at one time. Okay. So up here, top right corner, I go like this and I click and it slides over. Now I'm going to open up the template. All right. So check this out. I can then go and click on this little guy and say, hey, I don't want you anymore. And so then I'll delete you. Okay. Or what if this audio message, this voice comment didn't make any sense? My kids were all like, we don't really understand. Okay. Let's just delete that one. And then maybe I'll make a new one. Right. Or maybe this is a math page and everybody is getting number 3 wrong. We can just cross it off, do a quick little comment that says, listen, friends, everybody's confused about number 3. We're just not going to do that one. We'll do it together in class. Don't worry about it. Okay. And so you can make all these changes. Okay. And then you go up to the top and you hit update all and hit update. And what's cool about this is that this doesn't refresh your kids' pages. Okay. It doesn't reload it or anything like that. It doesn't mess up anything they're doing. Look, if I go back over to my student view, look, that comment's gone, the scribble's gone, but the new audio comment's here, and so is the big X. Okay, so the students can keep working. So let's say that I'm this, AVER student, and again, she's precocious and she's bored. And she's taking selfies, right? She's not working. She's not doing what she's supposed to be doing. You can see this. Okay, let me go back over. And look, I'm up in the top right corner. I'm toggling over again, guys, okay? I'm going over to the other side now, which is class view, where I'm going to be able to see every student's assignment right next to each other, like we were looking at before. And I'm going to be able to see her working or, not so much, right? And I can use the comment tool here and put a little comment here that says, hey there, nice selfie, but let's delete it and get to work, please. Or maybe you don't want to use your voice. So you do a quick little text comment that says, please delete and get to work. Now, guys, listen, this isn't supposed to always be about a gotcha, okay, necessarily. But the whole point is that you can scroll back and forth and give individualized feedback here, individualized authentic, timely feedback, because you can do things like use a voice comment or use a text comment, okay? Or you can just simply mark up the page too. If you're a math teacher and you want to mark up the page and do things like that, you can, okay? We are down to 1 minute. So here's what I want you to know. And I'm going to hang out, obviously, and be there for all of the sandbox, but the stuff that I've shown you, okay, is in here. So that whole Google Classroom thing and that class view and editing the assignment, like I went really fast there at the end because I was running out of time, but you can watch a little video and see how to do it, okay? Or if you're like, you know what, I'm brand new to Cami and I really just kind of need to learn the basics, you can click on this little guy right here, okay? And what you're gonna get is a multi-page document that has just page after page of information. Here's the comment tool. Here's what each thing does, okay? Here, there's graphic organizers. Like, wait, what? Avar, you didn't even mention graphic organizers. Graphic organizers are an awesome way for UDL, for students to be able to organize their information in different ways, right? The markup tool. She went really fast when she talked about that. Guys, I went really fast when I talked about everything because I only had 45 minutes. So I'm going to stop here because this is your break time. I am going to take a quick break, walk away from my computer too, but then we'll come back together at the top of the hour and I'm here to answer questions, let you play, figure out what you want to do, okay? How did you get to see the whole class view? I went and hey guys, officially I'm stopping now, okay? So you go take your break if you want, but I'm going to answer Elizabeth's question, okay? And if you all have questions, I'll answer them too, no worries at all. What I did is I went to the Google Classroom assignment and I clicked over here for myself, open with Cami. And that's when you see class view. And this is the magic. So the first time I did it, it didn't load right. for some reason my Wi-Fi glitched out or something like that, but now it's opening up, and this is where you can see all your kids in one place. The biggest thing here, though, is that you have to have assigned it in Kami for it to show up. But also, and I will mention this when we're together again, but this is where you can put the grade in there as well. So you can hit return and it all goes into your Google Classroom gradebook if you use that. So, all right, friends, you're welcome. I'm here to answer questions. I am going to walk away for 5 minutes, but we'll be back together officially at 11? No. I'm trying to do the time zones. It is almost 1 my time. So yeah, at 11, I think, your time, in about 15 minutes.
Hello, hello. I'm leaving you a little voice memo because I love them. I love hearing people's voices, and there's so much nuance that you can't get in a Slack message, right? So yeah, I sent you the message, but I just wanted you to know that I really, really hope that this is something that you want to do, and I don't want to overwhelm you, but
all right. Hey, friends, I am back. We've still got another minute of break, but I just wanted you all to know that I'm here. I do have some suggestions for you if you want suggestions for the sandbox time. Obviously, let's see. Yeah, we are right at 11 o'clock. So I'll go ahead and just share my screen. I'm going to take 1 minute. Actually, I won't even take that long because I want to be respectful. This is your break time or your sandbox time. But I do want to mention that on this purple page, there are links here. Obviously, I told you to all these videos, to these little notebooks, but also to things like the Chrome extension and the Kami library. Okay, there's also a help center. Kami.new will open up just a blank Kami page. So if you're looking for a jumping off place, you're not sure like what to do, maybe head to the Kami library and just check it out, see what's in there. If you came in, and I had already said this, the sign-in link is up here as well. There's a feedback form link, and then there is a set of slides as well that you could jump into and kind of explore and read more about UDL. So just let me know how I can support you. If you've got questions, throw them in the chat. I'm just here. I'm so glad that you guys are finding stuff that seems like it's going to work in your environment. We've got about 5 minutes left, and I'm just here hanging out. So thanks for your comments, you guys. I appreciate it. There are a lot of ways, obviously, that we could use Kami. People do use it with professional learning as well, like tech coaches and things like that in school districts will teach teachers with it. I teach undergrads with it. I teach at a local college with a group of, they are pre-service teachers. They're sophomores. It's a 200 level class. It's just introduction to technology in education. And I use it a lot with everything I do, just because I do like to be able to give students an opportunity to answer questions and interact with content in a variety of ways. One thing just to keep in mind, a couple ideas here at the end, and I'm not trying to take away from your independent exploration time, but any slideshow you have, okay, keep that in mind. So I have one that I use again with my undergrads, with just getting to know you. So it's in fact, I could show it to you guys. It's a all about me kind of dealio. This is something similar that I mocked up, but what's nice about it is that I just have them fill out a slide and I have them take a selfie, honestly, in class. I find that if I let students bring pictures in from their devices, I get pictures that are from Instagram or Snapchat that are really filtered, that don't necessarily look like the same kids that show up for class. So it's like I'm having them take the picture to learn their names, right? So I have them take a picture of themselves. I have them record audio and pronounce their names in case I've got kids that, I'm not sure how to pronounce someone's name. And also just, share a little bit about themselves. So I've told them that they can record a video and say a little bit about themselves if they'd like, or take a still image. So you guys, something like a Google slideshow, whenever you're in Google Slides or Google Docs, you're going to see a Cami button right here. And all you have to do is click on it. And then that pushes it over into Cami. And what Cami will do is tell you that it needs to be converted. Okay. So it's like, hey, this is a slideshow. Do you want us to convert it? Which basically means make it into a PDF. So these are all old versions that I've done in the past, but I always just go down to the bottom where it says convert to a new file and hit convert. Okay. And then when it does that, it flattens everything that's on the page. So they can't move the elements on the slide around. They can just put things on top of it. So, so it can be a really, great way to get to know students at the beginning of a semester. So, I'm so glad to hear you say this is the engaging tool I was looking for. Slam. Yay. That's perfect. Yeah, you guys are welcome. I have a million more ideas. If you ever want to brainstorm, if you ever want help troubleshooting, if you try something that, that I talked about today and it doesn't work for you, just shoot me an email and, we can get in a Google Meet and talk to each other. We can talk on the phone, or I can just write you back. I also make quick little custom videos for people. If they're like, hey, can you show me how to do this? I can make like a little video and, as long as I'm not teaching that day, and send it over to you. So you are so welcome. You guys feel free at any time, we're right at the end here. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy I think the last part of your break, and may your re-entry into next semester be a good one. Okay. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for being here. And you're welcome. Thanks so much for the feedback and everything. I appreciate it, you guys. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Yvette. You're welcome, Jose. Have a good one.